May I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Bang, bang, Facebook family and friends. Man, it has been a minute. Like, I don't even know how long it's been. It's been too long, that's for sure. Sammy and I have been working on a lot of stuff in our personal lives and in our work with the community and the people that we love and care about. So I hope that you guys all enjoy tonight. We have a special guest. Sammy and I will talk a little bit about her and her mission and what she's doing in life. Let me shut off my... See, it's been so long. I left my ringer on. Let me get rid of that. Bam. All right. So let me get Sammy on in here. You know, his head takes up most of the screen, but like we still love him anyways. Hey, there it is. That massive Triceratops dome.
Listen, my head takes up most of the screen, but your head takes up most of the memory.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Bigger file.
Yeah, right. I know I have a pretty large dome. I'm aware of it. We all work within it. How you been, brother? I missed you, man. We ain't
slick back my hair.
Right.
Listen, man.
I had to put mine in a little bun because it's just been like all the way out to there.
I hate hair. God, I miss being bald, man. Straight up.
Yeah, I did it for like 17 years with the nice little fade, and now that I've rededicated and I'm starting over again, man. Like it's at that stage.
Every day, I am thinking about cutting my hair. I'm still not liking it, man. But trying to please the wife, you know. I'm just trying to go down that path with her. For her, because you know, none of my kids have ever seen me with hair, so they're
right.
Samaya says I have a signature style now, and you know, I what? So anyway, life has been good. We got touched by a tornado a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
Did some damage to my deck, and there's a highway that connects two of the main cities by us, and that I have to jump on to go any direction, and all the trees for like 8 or 9 miles, literally on this highway. It's like the tornado just took the highway. And I mean, one of those trees that got knocked over, the root ball, you know, is still on the tree, got yanked out of the ground. The root ball is about 20 foot tall.
Oh,
like that's how big that tree was. And it got ripped out of the ground.
Wow.
Now, for perspective, this was an F0. This wasn't.
It wasn't even an F1.
It wasn't even an F1, bro.
Oh my God!
It was classified as an F0 tornado, and I'm like, "What's an F1?"
Right. Hey, I see we got some viewers in here. Make sure you guys like, share, and write a comment. So let's talk about today. I don't know if you guys noticed, we don't have our big FA banner on. We're doing it in our community, our responsibility broadcast, but Formers is 100% a part of my being. You see us right there at the top corner. Everything we do is about Formers. Everything we do is about recovery. It's important that we remember that, whether the broadcast is in our community, our responsibility Racine, or whether it's a direct Formers Anonymous broadcast, we are one and the same. And everything except for sometimes my extreme political viewpoints, which Former does not support either way. So Shannon, I see you, my brother. I love you, man. I'm glad to see you here. We're talking about something super important today. We're going to be having a guest in here in a moment. She has committed herself to doing something that most of us wouldn't be able to commit to. I remember in the the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, my uncle Andre, who has, like, swear to God, one leg and a prosthesis, walked from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. with a group of people. And I remember they were protesting against one of the wars. And I just remember respecting his walk, you know, his drive. And that was Andre Poutillier. It was my uncle, man, and I love him. He's still out there. I hope he's watching right now. So let's talk about the lady who we're bringing on here in a moment. Her name is Rochelle Zola. Let's talk about what she's doing and why she's doing it and what we're doing here today.
So a while ago, maybe a month ago, I talked to you about it. Anthony from Collaboration out of Chicago. Have you ever met Anthony?
I have not yet.
That's another introduction. I think they would love you too. So Anthony runs a theater company in which they address social justice issues in Chicago. And I was taken to a play called Crime Scene years ago. It was a long time ago, maybe 2010, 2011, maybe. No, it was like 2012, 2013. And Anthony put on this play about the anthology of crime in Chicago. And it goes all the way back to like the 1800s, during the riots and the fires and all that stuff. And it just follows all the crime, like major crime stories over the millennia that have happened. And essentially what the story line is depicting is that crime isn't just it's not just a Black or Hispanic neighborhood problem. Do you know what I mean? Its roots go all the way back to corruption in the mayor's office, to the mobsters, to the Irish, to Italians, to you name it, man. Anybody who's been in Chicago has been a part of the crime scene, right? But now here's what was crazy. What was crazy was I'm sitting here watching this play with a girl who I used to date way back when I went to prison the last time. And we have no idea what this crime scene is about. Like, we haven't seen the play. And here we are watching this. And one of the scenes in the play was eerily similar to the crime that we had committed together when we were younger, when we were kids, basically. Well, not just young adults. And so we're sitting in the audience, feeling we're like feeling like conspicuous, because this play that they're showing, it almost mirrors our crime that I went to prison for the last time. And so I'm like, man, this is weird. And it ends up being that Anthony and his wife end up putting part of my life story in that play. And then Sandra, his wife, wrote a 7-minute version of my TED Talk, and I performed myself with another actor at the Goodman Theater in Chicago.
Wow.
So I've got this long history with Anthony, right? And we're best of friends, man. We're brothers, man. And so Anthony, the reason I even brought up Anthony is because Anthony had posted on LinkedIn a little while ago that there was this woman walking basically from Chicago, through the country until she gets, to a particular place in which, like, racial hatred and crimes have occurred, right, in the South. And we all know, like, the South, particularly in Montgomery, has just been, story after story, year after year, decade after decade, for more than, it's deeply rooted, and I kind of live on the edge of that kind of, that kind of place, I don't even think I'm in the edge. I'm actually in the woods where I have discovered this place used to be a sundown town, and not long ago. And we're not talking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking maybe I just came right after. However, and I guess there was a sign that said it, and the sign is still up, but it's been covered up. So anyway, so Rochelle is this, you know, person who, if I would have passed her on the street, I would not have, you know, thought much, you know, like about what, you know, what kind of work she was in. But here she is, trying to bring attention to racism, but maybe even more so, you know, what it takes to close the distance, what it takes to overcome that, what it takes to address that, what it takes to, you know, I think she's just trying to be a part of the solution. And she herself is doing it in some ways, and she'll talk about it more than I will. You know, she's trying to do it through conversations, through theater, and through this, I think what I would call is a sacrifice of walking, you know, places most people don't want to drive. You know, like who would want it? Nobody wants to drive the 12 to 15 hours it would take to get from Chicago to wherever she's going. She's walking that.
Yeah.
And so she's been walking for a couple months and has a couple months more to walk. She's going to be walking until September, middle of September, roughly, you know, and I don't know about you, bro. I don't know how hot it is in Racine.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hot out here. And I mean, it's oppressive. And I work out there. I work in the heat all day. I'm just trying to walk from shade tree to shade tree. And
right.
But I'm walking like I'm on the moon because I'm walking slow, you know, just trying to survive. And I can't imagine walking on hot pavement 10 miles a day, you know, someone who's older than me doing that, you know, and is just all smiles and all, you know, like just really just trying to connect with the folks that she passes along the way, you know, and she tells them stories and then they tell her stories. And one thing I think you'll pick up from her, she understands the importance of listening to folks who, you know, have something to say about these issues, you know, and so I think bringing her on here is going to bring a light to her message. I think it's important to shine, whether you're, you know, we're grassroots. So whether, you know,
we're the definition of grassroots.
Yeah. We're
rootless grass. Like
that'd be tumbleweed.
I think we've gone broke over this. Like, and we're still at it. We don't, you know, it is what it is, man. Let's change the world. So why don't we take a second here, you guys? We're gonna welcome Rochelle.
Is she in?
Yep, she's in the green room now. So let's give a warm welcome to Rochelle. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for having me today.
What's up, Rochelle?
Hi, well, I'm just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. So I've walked about 485 miles and I have about 270 miles to go.
Wow.
Yeah, and it is hot. Not only is it hot, I walked through Illinois, which is mostly flat, and Kentucky and Tennessee has some rolling hills.
Yeah. I own a very small, me and my best friend own a very small moving company. We've done a lot of runs down to the Tennessee area, the Louisiana area, Florida area. But you're right. There's a lot of hills up and down. So let me ask you a little bit about your background.
Let me jump in before you do. Can we spell Rochelle's name right?
Oh, shoot.
You put Rachel's name in there.
2 L's and an E.
I see Rochelle. I see 2 L's and an E. I don't know. You see something
it's
different?
Coming.
Hold on. I'll fix that.
It's in the banner.
Oh, I put that in. Got it.
All right. So, Rochelle, I can't do justice to your mission. I tried a little bit. But one, tell us about yourself, anything you want us to know, and tell us about your mission and what you're doing right now.
Well, I just turned 76 years old.
Whoa.
And so
And you're
I
walking up
am
there. Look at
walking,
you.
as you mentioned, I am walking from Chicago to Montgomery, Alabama. And I started out in Chicago in April 2nd. I plan to be in Montgomery, Alabama by September 12th. And when I do walk around 10 miles. If my legs are still going, sometimes I'll walk 12 miles, 13 miles, but I'm really work at saying, okay, I'm getting 10 miles in. I don't care if I'm out here 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
getting to that 10-mile mark.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, it's a little warm. It's in the 90s now. The
Yeah.
humidity's, 85 plus. So you can relate
Wow.
to that too.
Oh.
And yeah, I get these calling things I know. And back in 2019, I knew I was supposed to move to Chicago. To be engaged in the Black and Brown community. So I got there in August of 2019, and I didn't know anything more. It was just like, you're supposed to be engaged, listen. That's all I knew. And I got there, and from day one, that's what I did. People told me to go to a training, a conference, a seminar, a community meeting, and I showed up. And everyone was like, who is this 71-year-old white woman? And why is she here? And I didn't have any clue either.
Mm.
And honestly, I just was like, I don't know. And people started sharing their stories. And then I knew. And people would say, you want to interview me? And it's like, no. What do you want me to know about you? And they shared. And then they kept sharing. And one of the reasons they did is they said, you know what? I would just be there. If they're handing out hot dogs, I'm handing out hot dogs. If they're putting up canopies for a barbecue, I'm there. If they're setting up chairs for a training, I was there. And they saw that. It was like, okay, she doesn't want anything. She's not looking to fix anything. She sure doesn't have any money. You know, it's like she just wants to be here. And with that, it was hard from the standpoint, people would come up to me and say, you give us hope. You give me hope. And it's like, I hadn't even done anything. So the bar was so low in some areas that just showing up was so important for people. And I became this person, I really am. I became this person that could be a witness to I gravitated to the Black community mostly, as it turned out. And they could just say anything they wanted. And I could be that person they want to say F you to. It's like, this is how my life has been. This is my experience. And you haven't been paying attention. And they knew I would just sit there and not blink because I knew it was the truth. And all I could do was just listen. And it was hard for me because here I am in my 70s, like, what hole have I been living under? What tunnel have I been in? What cave have I been in? And people, I have to honestly say, people have been so gracious. They're like, thank you for showing up now. But that's been hard for me. It's like, where have I been? And I've traveled. It's not like I have lived under a cave, but it took me moving to Chicago to learn about my own country.
Mm.
And so COVID hit after that because I was like, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to speak to people that look like me, white. And my Black friends were encouraging that. They were saying, you know what, they will listen to you, where we've been shouting and they're not listening to us. So I got on YouTube instead. And then I got on a lot of Zoom, and it was a diverse group of people, very much, okay, how do we take action? Be it in your own family, have a discussion. What does racism look like? How are you participating in continuing racism? What can you do to participate so that can we eradicate racism? And then I did about this, I did a 40-day hunger strike. Somebody in the
Mm.
group had mentioned, never thought I'd talk about reparations.
Mm.
And there's a bill that's been lingering for over 30 years in the Congress, Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals. And I did a 40-day hunger strike, just again to bring attention. It was important that I use this white body, but people said, why would you do that? And it's like, Black and brown people put their bodies out there all the time. And so it just seemed important. It wasn't something, it was just there. I just knew I was supposed to do it. And then I remained in the community, and again, it was like, how do I reach people? And it was really important. How do I reach people that I would never reach before? And the walking became the thing. So it took a year to develop a play. I am not an actor, never been any of that. I went to a theater group, Theater Y, in North Lawndale, Chicago, and met Melissa Lorraine, who is one of the co-founders of the theater. And I said, I have this idea, and will you create a play for it? And she was like, I've never done this before, and you're not even coming with an outline. It's just like, I have stories. And it was fabulous. The first question she asked me said, why theater? And I said, if I do a presentation, people can walk out. I said, a performance, people are more forgiving. It's more magical. You expect something different. You expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
And so it took a year to develop the play. And it was like, okay, how do you want to reach people? And it really became, you know what? If I wasn't hearing these stories, people in smaller towns are not hearing these stories. And it was important that I reach people who also weren't hearing these stories. So I've started walking, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing because people, so I walk with signage that says, ask me why I'm walking. And, I tell them I'm walking for racial equity. And before they can say another word, I say, let me tell you what that means.
Yeah.
Because that's frightening, that word, right? Equity, people, equality, racial, the whole thing. And they let me speak. And what I do is I share stories. I share personal stories of my friends walking into a restaurant, and everyone gets quiet. Is it safe to walk in there? Stories of my friends going into a store and getting followed around as if they're a thief. Recently, I met a young woman who she has a young baby. She's 29 years, Black, and she bringing her stroller like all moms and dads do when you have a baby. And she was being stopped to, as a suspect for shoplifting when all she had was a baby carriage. So she's not harassed and have that trauma and harm of that happening. Now she holds her child instead, because she said, I can't let that happen to myself. It's so painful to be stopped over nothing because of the color of his skin. So I want to go into the systemic of, racial injustice as far as the incarceration. And what I'm learning before I can even touch lives on a very human, I can understand that. I can understand being stopped while driving. I'm not stopped, but a Black person is stopped. I can share the story of my friend who got her license, and she's now 30. She's so excited to get a license, just like me. But her next thought was, oh my goodness, I could get stopped by the police, and will I live through that experience? I'm not thinking those thoughts. And so it was so important and so eye-opening, because now when I do something or I am somewhere walking down the street, I can relate to that and say, what would it be like for my Black friends and family? For this new family that they have. I say in the play, the whole thing is my words, but you have to understand that people have opened their hearts and granted me entry into a world of love and community that I didn't know existed. And I cannot imagine my life without sharing this. And that's where this is coming from. It really is, as you mentioned, Sammy, this is a mission. It's like, I need you to hear another story. Are you willing to hear another story? And then I ask people when I share them, I said, will you share it? And I'm actually getting yes. And that's what my play talks about. If I get that, and then I'm hosting a one-woman show, I ask people, will you host it? And again, it shares more of these stories, but it's right now I'm sharing them in my voice, but my friends in the PowerPoint is their voice with a picture of them. And people see the human face. This is just a person attempting to live their lives, and they can't, and it's exhausting. And people hear it in a different way. They're seeing it a different way. So then we have an after talk, and people have shared things that they've said never shared before. And which gives, what I want is an opening, so I can so they get activated. It took me so long to get activated. I don't want people to wait to their 70s to get activated. I want the 4-year-old to be activated. So that's what I'm doing. It's been incredible. So I listen to their stories, and I'll share one story of besides the woman I just shared. But so I was in a town. It was actually in Marion, Kentucky, and this woman comes running up to me, and she starts talking to me. I said, "Do you know me?" And she saw an article of me, and she said, "I want to meet you. I knew you were coming down this road." So I've been looking out. And she's talking, she's all for equity. And this is important for white people that are here because she said it. I didn't even think to bring it up. She said, "I'm all for that. And I don't get Black Lives Matter. For me, all lives matter." And I said to her media, I said, "Are you willing to listen to something else?" And she said, "Okay." And I said, "How does this sound to you? Black Lives Matter too." And the minute I said that, she said, "Wow, white lives have always mattered. Theirs haven't." So she got that immediately. And it was so wonderful because now I know she's going to go and talk to her friends and say, "You know what? I just heard something differently." So now she's not going to be on the defensive, even though she believes in equity. There's a piece that's holding her back, right? And now it's like, oh, absolutely, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I'm
Rochelle,
so excited to have you. Dude.
yeah, I mean, I think, I've done work that's taken me to some incredibly hateful places. I can't tell you how many ground zeros of mass shootings, from hate crimes and domestic terrorism. I was there within hours after the Vegas shooting. Like, I've just seen so many reasons that people have to be angry, to be hateful, to be, closed off, not wanting to hear, during the pandemic, the separation that people felt existed actually felt worse than what it actually was. Like, they had a way of measuring like how bad it was versus the perception of how bad it was. And there were so many people who were just feeling like it's even worse than it is, right? And that's their experience. And what I noticed is throughout the country, there's these little blips of light, right? And that light was people, much like what you've just described happened for you, where something happened, something hit them. It could have been an event. It could have been, a point in their life, whatever it was. But they decided, and I put it this way because I think we all relate to this. They decided to get off the couch and get involved, right? They got off the couch and they said, "I'm going to do this." And I've watched people start nonprofits. I've watched people, start to testify at Congress, join other causes, talk to friends, talk to family. I think COVID made everyone wonder if they have to start cutting people off because social media became the place where all these conversations were happening and people were just closing the door on things that, didn't resonate with them. And the reason I'm saying all of that is because I think while it's sensational what you're doing, I think it's also a good example how anyone who chooses to get involved can get involved. And it doesn't have to be in all the old ways. It can be in your own spirit, in the way that you create your desire. And I think that speaks to a lot of people because, me going to ground zero may not be what's comfortable for everyone else. So how do they get involved? I may not, look, I'm just going to put out there. If I'm in shape, it's round. It's not built for walking 10 miles a day, 90 degree, 100 degree weather with damn near 100%. You know what I mean? Like, I can only do what I do in my way, and you can only do what you do. But what you're bringing to the table, you're using your agency, you're using your platform, and I don't really. I say, if you feel you have privilege, would you be willing to use it to help? Because not everyone feels like they have privilege. But if you have a platform, me and Monta have privilege. We're sitting here on this podcast. We have we have an audience. We have assets. But whatever it may be, whatever your strength is, whatever your resources, are you willing to throw it into the game? To start these conversations. And I do think. I was telling Monta, I don't know if you heard this part when you're in the waiting room, but the one thing that I really resonate with when you share what you're doing is that you've learned the importance of listening to other people and what they have to say, regardless of what they have to say. And I think, to put it simply, people need a good listening to sometimes, and it can, I know for most of us, especially formers, right? You're amongst two formers and we use that term to describe people who have changed from a life of violence and hate and anger, institutions and incarceration, right? We're no longer that person. We're still becoming something. We're still in development. We're still trying to understand things, but we're also trying to step very carefully, because we know that we have a tendency to steamroll anything in our way. And so we want to be gentle, and but it takes a lot of effort, because it's effortless to be a steamroller, And so if you're not going to steamroll, but you're a steamroller, it can take energy to do that. So we try to make a safe place. And
yeah,
I think what you have brought to the table today is as a shining example that you don't have to be a steamroller. You don't have to be a former. You don't have to be wealthy. It doesn't matter if you don't have income. You said, I got to use this body. I love that, right? I got to use this. I got to use what I do have, right, to get involved. And so I think it's a grassroots effort. That's one of the things that speaks to me. What you're doing it's incredible. And we want to shine. We don't have a huge spotlight, but we got a little bit of a light, and we want to shine our light on it to bring attention to it, right? To assist you in any way that we can.
Well,
absolutely.
I'd like to share, if I have a minute, can I just share? We have
You have as many minutes as you want.
Okay. So if you would get on the website, late.love, and how to get involved, we'd meet in circle in Zoom around anybody who wants to get on to participate, just to hear what we're doing. We want to hear what you're doing. We're building a community. There's lots of communities, and this is another one where we're just saying, okay, what do we do? Because I'm walking for racial equity. So please get on the website. It is late.love. And the other thing I'd like to talk about was that right now I'm taking an RV. I've been using an RV. Someone drives it, and then I have a safe place to sleep. Our driver had to leave, and I'm without a driver right now. So I really would like to say, if any of you know someone, or yourself have experience driving an RV and know how to maintain it and dump the gray water and the black water and all that good stuff, which I don't know. I know how to turn it on. It's a 25-foot RV. And so from now until September 12th around, that would be the time commitment for someone to do that. And you're living in this container with me. What can I say? And it
So,
is
Rochelle,
salary.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to know my phone number, you can call me directly. And if you have an interest or if you know someone, so please spread the word on that, because right now the RV is sitting in someone's driveway until I find a driver.
So John Sidoti just posted your link to late.love in the comment. That's my brother. I love him dearly. So absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more off air after the show about that. I might have something to help out with. But Sammy had touched on formers and defined the word former. I go a little bit farther than Sammy does. I actually tell people, as a former, I define it as I am forming something new out of the ashes of the old, right? like the 2 decades I spent in prison, the life I lived prior to that. Like those are the ashes, and who I'm becoming now has to come out of those ashes, right? Like I can't build something from nothing. I have to have a foundation, and so I use all those things that I went through, that I lived through, that I did to form this new person that I'm becoming, right? Like I found out I would have loved to do this with you. I am a driver. I am, we own a moving company. I've driven cross country multiple times. My youngest just turned 5. And for me to leave him for that extended period of time, like this morning, I went to volunteer at the local homeless shelter at Halo, and he was sleeping when I left, and he stole his mom's phone and called me while I was at work. And it shows up as his mom. I'm like, hey, babe. And it was Tater. He was like, where are you, da-da? And I'm like, I'm at work, bro. He was like, you didn't hug and kiss me. I'm like, I did, but you were sleeping. He goes, I wanted to, right? I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. So I don't know if I could leave him for that extended period of time. Like,
I just got to jump in here real quick. Say, this is not a normal kid. This is Chucky, Dennis the Menace, Freddy Krueger. You name it. All the Headless Horseman, all lumped into one little soul. He's the cutest kid, but that kid, boy.
We found out why he's so cute. It's literally so we don't eat him, right? Like he is that cute, so we don't like eat him. Like
he is. Oh my god!
The universe knew. Like he was what, 2 when he dipped his winky in the mac and cheese and then peed on my leg while we were yeah. This kid is something else. Anyway, and one that deserves every bit of that. Just it's his karma. It's his everything. Yeah, he is an amazing boy. But all 3 of my little ones so I have children spanning 30 years. My oldest is 30, my youngest is 5. I have 3 grandchildren older than my youngest child. Like I can't.
No.
But
I mean,
I want you to. I would tell you no, even if you said yes. I remember talking to Sammy.
I wanted to so bad, Rochelle. Sammy and I and my wife talked about it over and over and over again, and I wanted to so bad, just because I believe in what you're doing. Coming from East LA, South Central, living my life as a mixed ethnicity, not fitting in on either side, dealing with brown racism on one side. Watching my parents who were both involved in civil rights and civil rights movements, like this speaks to me. Like when you said you had to use your white body to have them hear you because we put our bodies out there daily, like that almost made me cry, right? Like I remember growing up in East LA. I remember growing up in South Central. I remember what happened. I remembered the police officers and what they did to us in Rampart. Like that is a truer statement than most people understand. And it's a weight that people of color carry with them silently, right? Like, Sammy was here when the riots happened in Kenosha, and whether I agreed or disagreed with them, the most poignant thing to come out of that was when they spray painted the parole office down there. Can you hear us now? Right? Yes. Like, can you hear us now? This platform was created for that. It's our community. It's our responsibility. And we wanted to give a voice to the voiceless, right? We wanted people to be able to hear what we had to say. So thank you so much. From the bottom of my family's heart, thank you. We have some amazing followers, and they are some of the biggest hearted people in the world. So like, I'll make sure that they know, throw out those shares, get in contact with me, you guys, if you'd like to talk to Rochelle. Like the sooner we could get her a driver, obviously you have to have a license, you have to have a safe driving record, you have to know how to operate something of that size. Contact us, let us know
about that too, because the other big piece, and we want to do right by Rochelle. This is a major time commitment
You're going to be gone until September.
Yeah, I mean, so you could be gone by tomorrow, and you would not be home until September. So while it does sound intriguing and amazing, if I can just be transparent, Rochelle, this is your second driver, and I think it just says like this is not just fun. This is a commitment. The mission is important, and so if and when anyone's listening to this thinks that they are interested, just understand like it is a major time commitment, and you are responsible. You have to, like, for a lot of moving parts here. You are making sure that you're where you're supposed to be at for Rochelle. You have to keep tabs with her to make sure she's safe and not injured or stuck somewhere. Like there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a team behind all of this. So but you are the person on site. So really I think someone out there that we love and who's hearing this is a good fit for this. And I even thought about doing it, but it just didn't work out. It's a huge commitment, and so if you are considering this, just please take that serious, take that little disclosure, serious, because I don't like to see Rochelle's mission interrupted, but it's a part of it. It's a part of the sacrifice, but I think we can do right. Let's and spread the word. Like, let's help someone. Let's get this to someone who might be able to help. And we all have that person. I think the ideal person is someone who, doesn't have a kid like Tater, because I would not leave Tater with Lizzie that long, period, by yourself, for her sake. I think someone who has the ability to have someone house sit or pet sit, or, something like that. I think, it might be hard if you're a family person, but you never know. So get a hold of Rochelle. We'll put the details in the call before we wrap up, or you can reach out to Monte and or me if you don't get the details, because we're in touch with Rochelle whenever we need to be, so we can get that information. We're trying to do this sooner than later, so let's get some activity. Share this far and wide, please.
Yes, please.
Just so you know, go ahead.
Oh yeah, please like, share. Make sure you make your share public so that people can see it. And again, like Sammy said, we can get in touch with Rochelle at an instant. So send us those names.
Here's the Facebook link so they can share that.
Okay.
Oh, maybe they won't let me paste the Facebook link in here. They graded out.
No, did they?
Yeah.
Well, so John has the website, www.late.love, pinned in the comment section. So you can click on that there. And listen, if you guys don't know anyone who can help, if you don't know anybody who can do anything at all, click that link, go on there and support. Get her as many views as you can, get her as many shares as you can. Like, bring attention to what she's doing, because what she's doing is what we all want to do, or like we should be doing, right? Like supporting our community, building our strength. Oh, there, John got it.
No, I was trying to share our live feed.
Oh, our live feed?
Yeah.
No, you can't share that in the link. You got to just share it on your page.
No, I know. Now I know.
Yeah.
So my
You try to share our live in the link?
Yes.
So just so you know, my profile is under Rochelle Zola, and I would love if you actually went to my page, which is Late Love, and follow and say you like it. That would be fabulous. So I have two things going on. I also have TikTok under Rochelle Zola.
There you go. Put that in the link, in the banner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rochelle, before we wrap this up, what is Late? Tell me the name. Tell me about the name. Late.love.
So when I went to Melissa that I mentioned, we were looking for a name. I told her what I was doing. And right away, the name Late came up, L-A-T-E. And it was like, I'm late. Hey, pretty old lady. I don't refer to myself with that. I think that I have a lot of energy, but late. And this country is late, right? Over 400 years, and we still haven't, moved the needle much. And then they kept asking me, so I'm thinking we're going to write this show, and it's going to be from August 2019 forward. wrong. They start asking me about my history, and they go back further and further and further. And I was like, "You're kidding me!" And it's like, "No, they got to know you. You know, you can't start at 71." Anyway, I started going through my journal, and as I was going through my journal, I called them up and said, "Oh my goodness, this is a love story." You know, and I think I mentioned that right from the beginning, that these people opened their hearts and granted me entry into this world of love and community. And it was, so that's the story. And then we had to shorten it because that's the play, Late Love Story. So that's where the brand comes, Late Love. And
Oh,
it fits, you know, beautifully for so many people. They appreciate it. And, you know, I'm talking to a lot of people to say it's never too late. You know, it's never too late. But I do want to add one thing. You were talking about, you know, what I say. And if I could get white people all to say this, and it's in my play, I talk about, you know, I know a lot of white people are struggling financially, and people are saying, "Hey, I had to work really hard." And I acknowledge that. And I say, what I want you to hear, though, the color of your skin doesn't carry negative consequences for your very existence. And I really want people, I would love that to be written down and to share that and really honor that white body piece, you know, it's white body supremacy. And if we can really own that the color of my skin doesn't carry negative consequences for my very existence. And when I say that, people hear it.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Rochelle,
Absolutely.
we want you to know that we support you. We're with you. We're grateful for what you're doing. We're going to do what we can to shine some light on this. And, you know, whatever we can do, whatever I can do and what they can do, just ask, even if it's for moral support, you know, if it's for encouragement to continue, you know.
I can send you a 5-year-old right now.
God, I wouldn't. No. We're trying to help. We're trying to help.
Oh, that would be fantastic energy to have a 5-year-old around.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
It never ends.
You won't be walking. You'll be running.
All right, Rochelle. All right, Sammy. I'm going to send you guys to the green room. I'll wrap up and then we'll speak after the show.
Okay,
If you give me about 3 minutes.
all right.
Thank
All right, everybody. So you heard what she's doing, what she's talking about. John, thank you so much for your help sharing those links. Take it to the Facebook page. And then I shared the Rochelle Zola. Let's get that back up there. Sending lots of love. Absolutely. Let's send her as much love as we can and try to help her in any way we can. So this is her TikTok, Rochelle Zola. Let's see what we can do to get it out there, you guys. I love you guys. Sammy loves you guys. We will be back quite a bit more. We're just getting back into the stream of things. But until we see you again, I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. We definitely can't do it without you.